We are considering doing a settlement with mortgage lenders, the top banks in the country. But some of the liberal activist groups are asking good questions, including Move On, including Campaign for America's Future. They're saying, wait, we're doing a $25 billion settlement. $25 billion sounds good, but what are we settling for? I mean, if you're going to give them immunity on laws they might have broken to these big banks, did you do an investigation to see what laws they might have broken? In fact, let me quote Robert Borisaj from Campaign for America's Future, because he makes a great point. He says, the very notion that there could be a settlement with the big banks before there was an investigation of the scope of what the FBI warned was, quote, an epidemic of fraud violates any sense of justice. That's 1,000,000% right, 0% wrong. How do you know what you're giving them immunity for if you never bothered to investigate them? But of course they didn't, because Tim Geithner at the Treasury told President Obama, don't investigate the banks. They might find out what terrible fraud that they have done, and then hence they might get toppled and endanger the economy. So don't find out what kind of criminals they are. Just hurry up and do a settlement. Well, Brad Miller's a Democratic congressman out of North Carolina. He's one of the few good congressmen in the country. He lays out the two different possibilities for the settlement. He says, quote, this could be a great settlement if the only claims that are being released are very minor, small claims. But if there's a blanket settlement of a great many different kinds of claims against the banks, this could be a very, very bad deal for the American people and a sweetheart deal for the banks. Now, which one do you guys think it's going to be? Knowing the Obama administration, what they have done in the past, knowing the Treasury Department and what they have pushed for in the past, of course it's going to be a blanket settlement. That's going to be a sweetheart deal for the banks. You know what the scope of the problem is? There's $700 billion in bad loans, okay? $25 billion settlement, and you brush it under the carpet and go, what, everything's fine. My friends at Citigroup are all great. What do you mean friends at Citigroup? Oh, you mean like Jacob Lew, who was at Citigroup and is now the chief of staff for President Obama? No, my friends at JP Morgan are fine. You mean like the former chief of staff, Daley, who was at JP Morgan? And the list goes on and on and on. Gee, I wonder why they want to cover up for the banks. Meanwhile, it turns out a new Inspector General report on TARP says the Payzar was pressured by, you're going to be shocked, I hope you're sitting down, by the big banks and the Treasury Department to make sure that he kept giving out gigantic bonuses with our money. The former U.S. Payzar was Kenneth Feinberg, and he approved pay packages worth $5 million or more for at least 49 top executives at those banks from 2009 to 2011. Why did he do that? Well, Reuters explains. Quote, the report said that the companies had, quote, significant leverage over Feinberg in negotiating for excessive pay packages based on historical pay, warning that if he did not provide competitive pay packages, top officials would leave and go elsewhere. Where are you going to go? You're going to go to Botswana? You're going to go to Chechnya? Where are you going to go? Look at this. They had leverage over us because they bankrupted the country. They bankrupted their own banks, and they said, oh, well, if you don't pay me at least $5 million, I'm going to go somewhere else. Oh, by all means. Get. Apparently, that's my saying of the day. Oh, you're going to leave. You're going to leave. And that's leverage. But you see the way that they're thinking? Well, we owe everything to the bankers. The almighty bankers which destroyed our economy. Oh, please don't leave. I'll give you $5 million from taxpayer money. You sons of bitches, you're all goddamn bought. You tell me that, oh, we didn't have another choice. You couldn't find any analyst in the country to take over those banks? I can name you a dozen right now off the top of my head. But instead you gave the money, millions of dollars, to the same incompetent, greedy people who stole that money and bankrupted us in the first place.